Hey friends and neighbors, this is Chuck out at Sheridan Park Farms. Welcome back to the farm. Another beautiful day here in the mountains of western North Carolina. So I think as we go through life, we're not always honest. And sometimes we stretch the truth. Well, let's just call it what it is. Sometimes we lie. And I have absolutely lied to myself, and I've lied to y'all. And I have done something that has made a liar out of me. And I'm going to show y'all what that is here in just a little bit. But today, I've got I got some gardening stuff. It's been a few days since we've done a video. I've been busy. And I'll explain that here in a minute. I've been busy. Work's just been crazy. But I've recorded a few things over a couple days. I'm going to try to mash all this stuff together into a video that kind of makes sense. We'll see how all that works out. Got a little bit of gardening stuff. I think Sonner's going to do some stuff in the kitchen. We had a lot of positive feedback on Sonner doing stuff in the kitchen. And I have apologized to my friend Andy for plagiarizing their style, but it is what it is. Free market and all. Now, he was very understanding. So Sonner's got some stuff in the kitchen, and I'll show y'all how I have made a liar out of myself with a small purchase. Hang out with us for a little bit. Let's get a little work done.
Pretty good driving there, Tex.
Thank you. Been practicing.
What you got here?
Got you a prize.
Got me a prize.
Yeah. You know,
a pig. Not quite.
That's the funniest sounding pig I've ever heard.
Hey.
You know how I used to make these grand claims? I ain't getting into the cow-calf business. I don't want all that baby mama drama. You remember me saying all that?
Yeah.
I'm a liar. I'm a liar. I bought a bull.
A bull?
Bought a bull. Bought a bull. You know, I like them red and white Herefords so good that I bought off of Keith. And I thought, I need me some more of them. So I found me a bull.
Some babies.
Want some babies. Well, I tell you why. With the price of cows, what they are right now, and I still like doing stalkers. I like buying 7, 8 weights and bringing them in, and I guess they're feeders at that point, bringing them in and finishing them off and that kind of thing. I like doing that. But I got to thinking, we've got some females out here. If we can breed and have
They're coming.
Have a few calves. Are they coming?
Yeah.
Have a few calves. It might save us a little money. So we're gonna try it and see. So
yeah, they're coming.
Oh, they're coming. They want to see what they heard him. They want to see what is going on.
No, Maggie.
All right, bud.
And he has a name?
His name is Harry.
Harry the Holstein.
Harry the Holstein.
Or not Holstein, Harry the Hereford.
Harry the Hereford. Not what I would have named a bull, but here we are.
Hey there, buddy. Oh, he's got his little lipstick out a little bit there.
Do what?
He's got his lipstick out a little bit there.
Oh, does he? Well, that's because there's some ladies around, and he wants to impress them with his
manliness.
with his junk.
Here, let me have
I've got to do this and not let Penelope in, because her and Little Red's over here want to see what's going on.
Well, he's not impressed at all.
No.
Is he?
No, not all. Lord, at the clover in here. That's crazy. And then he goes over here, he's got all this clover and all this grass, and what does he do? He goes over here and starts digging this old hay.
Old moldy hay.
So this is Harry. And Harry is about a 14-month-old Hereford bull. and he's not a purebred. His dad looks like him, but his mom was a black baldy, which is basically an Angus cross with a Hereford. They end up with a black body, white face. So he's really 3/4 Hereford, but he's got that Hereford look. And like I said, you know, the point here being that price of cows have done what they've done over the past year or so. And you know, we buy animals and bring them on here and finish them and that kind of thing. But they've just gotten so expensive that it's becoming almost cost prohibitive without us continuing to raise our beef prices. And so we've got some females out here that, you know, we thought, well, let's just try breeding a little bit and see if we can maybe have a few calves. I've got 2 big red steers out here that were born on this farm that have done excellent. So their moms are still here, so we're going to try breeding again, and we'll see what it does. You know, at the very least,
Here he comes.
is he coming? At the very least, we bought Harry here for, if we had to salvage him, in other words, if he didn't breed the first cow, if we had to take him to the butcher and turn him into hamburger, we can recoup our money. We can make our money back on him. So we're not going to be out anything, but hopefully, fingers crossed, he can service some of these girls, and we can get a calf or two out of him. So we'll see.
Well, they've took a shine to him.
They've took a shine to him, yeah. And so we've got him over here in the corral, and I've got the rest of the herd in this field over here next to him, and done that on purpose. I've given them a little bit bigger spot, and they've been here probably a day longer than they could have been. But we discovered the other day that we decided the other day we were going to buy Harry, so I went and picked him up today. So I ended up leaving everybody in this field over here where they're at, and then they've also got their water is right over here, kind of behind Whistle Britches over there. So they'll have to come by him to go drink, and we'll leave him in here for probably, I was kind of calculating with some other stuff we got going on, first one thing and another. I'll probably leave him here for, what do you think?
Wednesday.
Yeah, so 2 days, well, 36 hours.
Yeah.
We'll probably leave him here for 36 hours.
Because we got to go to a market tomorrow.
Yeah, we got market. So we'll probably leave him here for 36 hours, and that will give him enough time to settle down, let everybody come over and sniff, let everybody kind of get used to each other, all that kind of thing. We've brought cows here before and just turned them out into the pasture on the wire. That's not a good idea.
It doesn't work too well.
Ask me how I know. But
Hello, Harry.
we
How
won't
you
leave
doing,
him in
bud?
here. I know. I think he's just curious. So we're just going to leave him in here for a little while, let him calm down, let everybody sniff each other through the gate, get used to one another, like we did with these other Hereford boys. They're way up yonder. They're not even paying attention. But we'll just let him get used to it, see what happens.
All right, so today we're going to make some freezer biscuits. I've bought them at the store, and I'm sure you have too. They're pretty good, actually. But I was looking at the ingredients list, and I decided I wanted to make some of my own, so I wouldn't have to be eating some processed stuff. So here we go. We're going to make freezer biscuits. And I'm going to double my recipe, so I'll have Chuck post the recipe at the end of the video. So we're going to do 4.5 cups of flour, and this is unbleached all-purpose flour. It doesn't have any leavening in it at all. So there's 4. And that's 1/4. And there's 4.5. And I'm going to keep my flour out here because I'm going to need it in a minute. I'm going to sour me some milk. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I don't have any buttermilk at the moment. I am in the process of making some, but I don't have it quite ready yet. So I'm going to be doing 2 cups of milk and 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. So I'm going to get me a bigger cup here. So this is some of my raw milk that I get here locally. And then we'll do 2 tablespoons of lemon juice to go in it. And that just gives you some sour milk. It doesn't turn it into buttermilk at all. Give it a little stir. So I'm just going to set that aside and let it be souring. All right, the next thing is 6 teaspoons of baking powder. This is my teaspoon right here. All right, there's 6. And I'm going to do a little better than a teaspoon of salt. It calls for a teaspoon, but I'm going to do just a little bit more because I just think it adds a little something to it. Helps it a little more. And then I'm going to do a cup or the equivalent of 2 sticks of butter. And this is the butter that I use. It's called Grazier's Grass Fed. And I get this from Azure Standard. All right, I'm going to put the top on my food processor here and blend all these dry ingredients for just a minute. Get everything mixed up real good. And then I'm going to cut my butter in. I like making my own butter, but I don't have a cream separator that I can separate out this raw milk. And this Grazier's grass-fed butter is so good. And my time is so limited that I've decided this is one of the things that I'm not too worried about making myself. So we'll cut this and crumble it up in here into the flour. And you want this butter to be really cold. Colder the better. And then once I get all this in there, we'll turn it back on and let the food processor do the hard work of cutting this butter into the flour mixture. I used to do this part by hand, but my hands have got to where I can't really do that very well anymore, so I'll let the machine do it. And I'll start it real easy, because once this butter gets down to the knife, it's going to tend to push the flour up. There we go. Check it here. Yeah, that looks good. Just a few more seconds. And that's it for that part.
All right, it's next morning. Actually, it's a little later than early morning. I've done checked on him once, but let's go out, check on Harry, see how he's doing. And also, the cows that are in that field adjacent to him, I'm gonna give them a little more, I'm gonna give them another fence. We're gonna open them up a little bit, give them a little more area. I'm gonna leave them with access to get back over to him because I still want everybody to keep sniffing and getting used to one another through that fence. I would turn him out, but we've got to leave here in a little bit, and I don't want to turn him out and nobody here. So let's go give him another spot, or give them another spot, and just see how everybody's doing. All right, here's our boy Harold. Hey Harry, what you doing, bud? Hey, how are you? Come here. Come here. He's pretty docile. I mean, he'll let you reach over and rub on him a little bit, won't you, bud? So he's in our corral. We showed this a minute ago. Of course, it was last night whenever we brought him home, but he's in the corral here, and he's got access to some hay down there. There's plenty of grass. I was actually surprised at how much grass there was in this little corral that we got set up. And he's got water up here. And then I also put him out a little kelp and a little mineral, but he's knocked those off. So let's walk around here and see how everybody else is doing, what they're up to. All right, rest of the gang over here hanging out. Everybody down here in the shade right around the water trough. And then I've got a couple more hanging out over here to the side. These are our 3 Hereford steers. And these guys, man, this is why I was interested in Harry. I mean, look at these guys. They look great. They're doing good. Putting on weight. I mean, they're acting like cows, doing like they ought to do. 265 here. That's a heifer. So hopefully Harry can make friends with her. And then here's everybody else, 343 there. 343 a steer or a heifer? I don't remember. Well, y'all done a good job mashing this down. He's a steer. 343 is a steer. This one right here to the side, sideways of us. And then 341 there. She's a heifer, so hopefully he'll make friends with her. But anyway, and they're down here hanging out. I think I'm gonna, like I say, give them another, oh, sorry about that. Give them another little section of grass up here just to extend out so they've got plenty of room and a little fresh. This is all looking good in here. They really eat this down and are doing what we want them to do with it. A lot of litter on the ground, but I mean, even then you can peel this back. I mean, it's a long way down to the soil down there, and it's just as moist and cool down there. We're getting a little warmer today. We're up in the mid 70s, upper 70s right now. But it's just nice and cool down there next to the ground, and that's what we want. These cows pushing that litter down. I'm gonna unplug this thing. because I'll be out here messing with it. So the way we've got this thing set up, show you real quick. The way we got this thing set up, the energy runs into here. That's where the spark's coming off of. So when I take that loose, it drops all the spark on the rest of it. As long as it's plugged up, it drops all the spark on it. So there's no, and also this one, because they're tied together. It drops the energy off of it. And so to take energy off the fence, all we have to do is unhook this. But with the cows being right here, I got to put this back up so that they don't come out. So that's why I've unplugged it, because I'm going to be touching the hot wire. We're going to give them a real small area. I don't know if y'all can see that wire, but that's over there probably 70, 10, 20, yeah, 50 or 60 feet right over there. And I'm going to give them the shade structure right there to give them a little bit of shade. But what I found, I've been experimenting with this a little bit this year, and what I found is they're doing a whole lot better when I give them a small spot. They eat more of it, they trample more of it down, they're not as picky, and I've read about that for years and understood in principle, but had never really practiced it that well. So we're doing a little bit more of that this year, and that seems to work by giving them a smaller spot and compacting them. And I know they've got a big area here. They've got a big area back out to the barn, but the fresh that I'm gonna put them on, I'm gonna keep that kind of small. And I know they've been out there longer than they should have been. Cows will typically go back and re-eat on a spot that they've already grazed after about 2 or 3 days, because that new growth starts coming up. So we're probably starting to get a little bit of that. But in this particular circumstance, with having this new bull, that's just what I've had to do. And so that's how we're working it. But I think it's going to be okay. But I'm going to put some posts in, pull a wire, take this last one down, just give them a real small spot, and see how they do with it. Got to leave them, like I said, I'm going to leave them about another 24 hours before I pull Harry out and put him in with them. And everybody should have plenty of grass.
All right, so next I'm going to empty this into my big Pyrex bowl here. So I've got plenty of room to work. I had a smaller bowl I was going to use, but I decided I needed to get a bigger one here. So I'll take a spoon and kind of make a well in the middle of this. Push it up to the sides. Had a viewer leave a comment just maybe even today or yesterday about she thought she saw some old Pyrex bowls. Yes, this is my everyday working kitchen bowls. I have them in a cabinet over here along with my J-Dot, but everything you see here I use. I don't really, I have some things that I don't use very often, but I usually use most of what I have collected here. So we're just going to work this flour into our milk, and we're going to stop just as soon as it comes together. Like I say, I've still got some flour that's kind of free in the bowl, so I'm going to work it just until I get it just barely wet, so it's not just a free flour in there. So this has taken me, what, 30, 40 seconds, and that's it. So it's very wet, it's very loose, but it's got the flour moistened. And I've watched videos of folks making biscuits, and it's hard for them to describe how to make biscuits. And I understand why, because there's a sweet spot when you're making biscuits. If you leave everything too loose like this, your biscuits are going to fall apart. If you get the mixture too firm, then your biscuits aren't going to rise. So there's a sweet spot when mixing biscuit dough. And I'm going to try to describe it. We'll see how it goes here. First thing I'm going to do here is a generous amount of flour on my countertop. And I'm going to keep my flour bucket right here close by because I got a lot on my hands. Because this is some very sticky stuff. And so I'm going to take this and just dump it right out on my counter. And so as you can see, we've incorporated enough of that milk into the flour so it came right out of the bowl. But right now, if I was to put my hands in this, I would be up to my elbows in biscuit dough. So I'm going to put quite a bit of flour on here. And then I'm just going to push it down. And it's very light. It's got a lot of air in it. And then I'm going to turn it so it doesn't stick to my countertop. And then I'm just going to press it down. Turn it over and press it down. And I'm only going to do this a couple of times. Because if you do it more, so I can already feel it starting to firm up. So if you do this any more, you work this dough any more than what I'm doing right now, you're going to get a firm dough. And if you go to bake this right now, the biscuits aren't going to rise. So I'm just patting it out really lightly. And I'm making this about 1 inch thick. And see, it's still pretty sticky here on the edges, so I'm going to give it just a little more flour. Just a sprinkle. And that's it. So this, it didn't take long to get it to where I wanted it. And so the next thing we're going to do is cut the biscuits out and put them on my sheet pan to go in the freezer. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to cut these out with my little chopper. And I'm just barely going to give it a little twist. They say if you give it much of a twist, then it seals the sides of the biscuit and it prevents it from rising. So I'm just twisting it enough to free the dough. Alrighty, and then I've got my baking sheet here. I've got a piece of parchment paper on my baking sheet, and I'm just going to take these and put them on my sheet. And we're not baking these now. These are actually going to go in the freezer, so I'm putting them pretty close together. All right, there's our first round. And what I'm going to do is, as lightly as I can, I'm going to reform this dough and do this again. But you want to do it, you want to be real easy with it, not get in a hurry, and not overwork it. Try your best. So I'm just working the air bubbles back out of it, and I'm going to turn it over. And so I can feel this dough, it's getting pretty tight, which I expected it to. And that's the beauty of these freezer biscuits, is You don't have to worry about letting this sit out on the counter and the flour loosening back up before you bake them. You can just go ahead and pop them in the freezer, and once you bake them frozen. So as they are in the oven and baking, it overcomes all that tightness of the dough, and they'll rise up just fine. And the more you work this dough, the tighter it gets. So by the end of this double batch that I've done here, this dough is really tight. And that'll help you when you're trying to figure out, when you're first mixing this dough, and I'm talking about how tight it can get. Once you get to the end, you'll understand that. And you'll understand how much, if you're making fresh biscuits, where the sweet spot's at. And when you need to stop working your dough. And so by the end here, we've got a really tight dough. And if I was making fresh biscuits and my dough was this tight, I would just stop and give it about 30 minutes to loosen back up before I before I cut my biscuits and put them in the oven. Because you can see how that's springing back. That's a tight dough. So these are my freezer biscuits. And I'll take another piece of parchment and put over top of this. And then I'm going to take it up to the freezer in the shop and freeze it overnight. And then once they're ready to come off of the cookie sheet, you can take a Ziploc bag or whatever you like, anything that's airtight, put them in there and throw them back in the freezer, and you're good to go. So there they are. 4, 8, 12, 16, 22 biscuits. Good to go. And now when you want to bake these, you just pop out as many as you like. Put them in your pan. Preheat your oven to 425. Take either some butter or some oil or even an egg. And if you're using an egg, mix it up real good and just cover the tops of your biscuits and bake them for about 10 minutes. Probably not even that long. And you'll get a nice brown top biscuit. And when they come out of the oven, put you a little more butter on top and can't go wrong.
And I want to show y'all this. So this is the shade structure, and it was here, and they were on this spot where the shade structure is, gosh, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. I don't know how well it's showing up on camera, but look at the area right around up close to this where the cows would have been. Notice there's not much seed head there compared to this out here. So we had a lot of pressure. You always get pressure around you shade, you feed, you water. We had a lot of pressure right here. And this is just as thick. I mean, gosh almighty, how pretty is that at that grass? And it's not just on this side. There's a ring. I wish there was a good way to show this. There's a visible ring. South is that way, so most of the shade was up here. There's a visible ring around this. Look at that clover. That's crazy. Visible ring around this thing where the cows were lounging whenever we had it. So I'll probably leave it, but having them some shade where they lounge, poop, pee, and that kind of thing, moving that thing around. I've heard Joel talk about this. If you've got like an area of blackberry, briars, something like that, you can put their shade and put the animal pressure there where that junk is. It will help to get rid of it. So I'm gonna leave it here for now because I really don't have any other problems. But I might need to figure out a way to start moving this thing. It's kind of big and bulky and warbly and that kind of thing, but it might behoove us to figure out a way to move this thing around. Well, we're getting a couple of interested parties. Let's see how devoted they are to the cause here. Woo, cow. Woo, cow. Woo, cow. Acting like a lot of interested parties. Oh, and Harry's upset back there. He's not being included here. Here they come. I think on a previous video, I tried to show y'all how to move cows. This is it. This is what we were trying to convey. So, Penelope, honey, leave my camera and stuff alone. $337 right there. She's a heifer. We'll put Harry on her and see what he does. All right, there they are. That's a successful cow move. But really not moving them, just giving more grass.
All right, so now we're back up at the shop, and I've brought my freezer biscuits up and put them in this freezer up here, and I'm going to get my freeze dryer here ready to go freeze dry around the strawberries. And I just turned it off. So I'll turn it back on here. So I just took out a load of strawberries and I was letting it defrost. You have to defrost it in between batches. So when I pull this out, there'll be a little bit of ice come out with it. And I'm going to set this over here just like this. And I'm going to take my towels and we're going to make sure that this thing is completely dry inside. And so there's a little bit of water ponding in it. I've got it set back just a little bit so that the water runs out the drain in the back, but I've got this handy dandy little blower here. We're going to blow the water out of this thing. And that's all it took. Most of the water's already drained out of it. I've got a drain line here down into a bucket. So you can see inside this thing. As you can see down there at the bottom, all the way in the back, there's a drain hole. So to get this thing ready to go again, I've got to get it completely dry inside and get the trays dry. And then we can reload it. And strawberries typically, in this particular freeze dryer, take about 48 hours from beginning to end. And that's if the strawberries are already pre-frozen, which they are. They're back here in the freezer. All right, so I'm ready to put my tray back in. And as I'm putting it back in here, I want to make sure that I don't pinch any of these wires. All right, now we'll step back here and get our strawberries.
All right, y'all. I thought it might be important to talk for a minute about what this bull isn't, what this bull is, and what this bull isn't. So when I started kind of having the idea about buying a bull and putting him in with the females, probably a month ago. So I've researched this thing 11 ways from Sunday. And there's a lot of content and a lot of information, and I even went and took a class on cattle reproduction, selection of bulls, artificial insemination, estrus synchronization. I mean, it's a whole, I listened to a podcast guy that had a PhD in it. So here I am with a month's worth of education. There are people out there that have devoted their entire lives to the study of this. So if you're looking to me for solid information and factual information, I'm probably not your guy. But I want to talk about this bull in context, and everything revolves around context, in the context of our farm and what this means for us. So like I said earlier, price of cows keep going up. And I am not interested in breeding and having calves to wean calves and then either take to a sale or have a buyer come in and put a load together. That's not at all what I'm interested in. And I'm not really so much interested in specific genetics as I am performance. And when I say performance, I mean I want cows that can do well out on grass, put on weight with low input, have calves without a whole lot of problems, without a whole lot of intervention, and create the type of product that we want to create here to sell. And while Harry is probably not my most ideal bull, and while I absolutely probably don't have my most ideal females, bless you, my most ideal females out in the pasture, got to start somewhere. And so we liked the Hereford. Actually, I like the South Pole. And if those of you that watch Greg Judy, you know that South Pole is a composite breed made up of Hereford, Red Angus, Barzona, and Centipole. And Harry over here is 3/4 Hereford. He's 1/4 Angus. His mother was a black baldy, which means she was half and half. She was half Angus, half Hereford. So we've got the Hereford piece. We've got a black Angus, and the reason the red Angus is built in there is partially, in large part, to the color, due to the color. So we're working on getting the right color. I do have some good Angus calves out here that have, or Angus heifers that have come off of a good Angus farm. So they should, I mean, they're good meat animals. They're good beef cattle. I've got one female out here. She doesn't look the best in the world, but again, sometimes you've just got to start with what you've got and build from there. And cows are expensive, bulls are expensive, replacement heifers cows are just expensive right now. And so to get started, we had something to start with. And so instead of going out and spending a wad of money on special genetics and that kind of thing, we found something that we could start with and something that would work. And so that's what we're doing. Again, I'm not wanting to raise calves to sell. I'm not wanting to raise calves to take to the sale barn. I'm not wanting to have animals to sell as seed stock. We're looking for just production animals, commercial herd that we can get some good carcass production off of, and we can get a good product that we can sell back to our customers. And we want to generate some of that on our own without having to continue to buy animals and bring them in and that kind of thing. Now, I know I've talked about baby mama drama in the past and how I didn't want to get into that. And I'm really not excited about it, but it's time to grow. It's time to expand. It's time to learn. It's time to try something a little bit different. And if you're not trying something different and trying to learn and trying to expand and get a little bit better, well, then you're stagnating and even sliding backwards. So for us to grow the farm business, and to get a little bit better, we just felt like this was the right thing to do now. We're going to take y'all along with us on this journey. It may be ill-fated, but we'll see. But we've got to try something, and we're going to try to have some calves. Plus, they're cute. Baby calves are cute. Not as quite as cute as a baby pig, but baby calves are cute. And I think it'll generate some good content for y'all to watch and some good content for us to record. So anyway, just thought I'd talk about what this bull is, what this bull isn't, what we hope to accomplish with it.
So here's my latest round of strawberries. I got these yesterday. And this latest batch, this will put me at 12 gallons worth of strawberries. Make sure there's none stuck to the bottom. And then I just load them right in. Alright, so we're loaded up here and ready. So the next thing I'm going to do is just wipe this thing down real good. Just to get any lint that might be on it. And this is my rubber gasket. This is my seal. I'm going to wipe it down. And then I'm going to put it on my ring here. And I'm just barely putting it on there, so that when we shut the door, we'll have a pretty tight seal. And here comes somebody. We're working on strawberries.
Am I interrupting?
No.
You recording?
Yep.
All right.
All right, so we're good to go here and we're ready. I'm going to shut this door and it's going to be very tight. So I'm going to have to push it in, lock it down. And then I make sure my valves are closed. That's my pressure valve. This is my drain valve. I'll make sure both of those are closed. And we're going to press freeze dry. And we have all pre-frozen food in there already. And we'll hit the start button. And then there's a little button here that says food in chamber, and we'll hit that. And we're off and running. And like I say, that'll take about 48 hours.
Everything smells like manure.
That buggy stinks now.
Yeah. Well, what do you think of Harry?
He's pretty.
He is pretty, ain't he?
He's hairy too. I like his curls.
Curly, hairy, kind of Harold. I'll call him Harold. You remember how Kevin used to call me Charles?
Yeah.
Everybody called me, he said Charles. I think I may call Harry Harold. So I gave him a little bit more spot, a little bit more grass.
Okay.
To munch on for a day or two. What have you been up to?
I've been making biscuits.
All your things. Biscuits. Making biscuits. Froze biscuits?
Freezer biscuits.
Freezer biscuit. Are you ready to write the recipe down? Because I know people's going to be asking.
Yes, I've already done it.
You've done it. Okay, good. I know people will be asking about that. And on this freeze dryer, y'all, video's not sponsored by Stay Fresh, but we do have an affiliate link, and I think I've got a coupon code. I'll post it in the link down below. We've not done a ton of freeze dryer stuff on video, but Sonder has freeze dried everything here except for me and the dogs. I think we're next. Ain't that about right?
You better watch your P's and Q's.
But I tell you what, you can build a larder off of that thing pretty quick, can't you?
Yeah, boy, we're going to have to work on some storage space.
Can
because
storage.
I've already filled up, and we've not even started on canning green beans or anything yet this year.
Yeah, or tomatoes or anything like
Nothing,
that.
yeah.
The peas. So I picked some peas the other day. We put them in vacuum seal bags and just froze them, but they would have been good candidates for freeze drying.
Yeah, we could do some of them.
Yeah, and with the garden coming in, I think we'll use that thing a lot. But it's very handy.
I think the next thing I'm going to do is some stock, some red meat, like pork bones.
Yeah, beef stock.
Make some stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd
be a long drawn out.
Yeah, that'd be good stuff to film. Show people how to do that. And the chicken stock. I mean, you use that stuff. It's like
Use
that
it all
Frank's
the time.
Red Hot. You use that blank on everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
Put it on everything.
Put it on everything, and it is good. So. Well, I know this video is going to end up being kind of a mishmash. I've got a little bit of gardening content that I'm going to drop in here somewhere on this thing. I did build me a little tiny temporary composting bin out there the other day. I'll throw that in. That's probably been thrown in here in this mix somewhere. But
We got to get ready.
I've
got a market to go to.
We've got a market to go to. We got garden work to do. Both my hay guys have called, picking up hay Thursday morning. Couple days, so I got a bunch of stuff on the dump trailer. I need to get rid of that so I can haul some hay, and just a busy time. And I didn't say anything about this. We had another gentleman at work retire, and I've been asked to fill in for his spot until we can get that filled. So I'm not complaining. I'm doing my regular and then 2 interim spots right now, and it's just I'm kind of busy, ain't I?
Just a little bit.
Been on the phone.
He's on the phone a whole lot.
On the phone all the time. But, I mean, it's fine.
But if you're on the phone here, that means you're not having to go somewhere.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. So, but I appreciate all the folks that work with me and work for me and that kind of thing. We've got a real good team at work, and they're very understanding of the whole farming deal, and I always appreciate that. And we'll get through it. We'll get through it. Like I always say, please keep us in your prayers. May God bless you and your families. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks. Freezer biscuits. I'm excited about that.
I tried one of them.